the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Josh All, your host today on a very snowy morning here in my neck of the woods in Ohio, wherever you guys are at. I don't know what the weather's like, but if the roads are slick and icy and covered in snow, make sure you guys have a safe commute to work and wherever you're going today. I want to get into some things from the game on Sunday. Obviously, the Browns dropping yet another one at home to the 49ers this time. We've got some things to look forward to next week against the Titans when they come to town. And then we're going to dive into some of the blunders and some coaching things and a little bit of quarterback drama that seems to be coming up yet again in Cleveland Browns. The history of the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation, just another chapter, I'm sure. So we'll get into all that. I want to make sure you guys remember, if you want to join the Dog Pack, be part of our Dog Pack Discord episodes that we do live every Thursday to preview the upcoming game. We'll be doing the Titans preview this Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern in the Discord. Go to jointhedogs.com, become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon page, sync up with the private Discord, get access to everybody, the 24/7 chat in the Dog Pack community on Discord, the diehard Browns fans that are in there, guys, gals from all over the country, all over the world. There are Browns fans from everywhere in there, and it's just a ton of fun. It's a great place to be. Plus, you get the opportunity to play fantasy football with us each season. And then also we're going to be doing the Dog Pack Discord live episodes beyond the season. After the games are over, no more previews. We're going to be talking draft and free agency, maybe a new coaching search, coaching hires, all that kind of stuff live every week in the Discord. So make sure you guys head to jointhedogs.com. And one last thing, I want to remind you guys, we are going to do a live watch party on Sunday for the Browns-Titans game. Cam Ward versus Shedeur Sanders. It's going to be for what we're dubbing the Suck Bowl 3. Because remember, Suck Bowl 1 was Browns v. Jets. Suck Bowl 2 was Browns v. Raiders. And now Suck Bowl 3 is Browns v. Titans. But at least we get to see these two top quarterback prospects from 2025 with Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders facing off. We're going to be tracking Myles Garrett's sacks. If maybe he can set the sack record in this game, we're going to be watching this. So we'll be with you guys live for the entire game. We're going to kick it off about 12:45, about 15 minutes before the game, do a little pregame show, talking all that kind of stuff. Justin, fingers crossed, will be with us for the live stream. We did get a message from him. He does appear to be alive and apparently well, so that is good. That is good. I know he's just got a lot going on right now. Wife's got a broken ankle, he's got the kids, just his life is very hectic, but we did get some communication from Justin, so I appreciate everybody who was concerned about his well-being. But yeah, so the live stream is going to be a ton of fun. We're going to be with you guys for the whole game. Like I said, we'll do a little post-game wrap-up at the end. So there won't be a live reaction show Sunday night because obviously we'll be reacting with you during the whole game and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you tune in Sunday, 12:45 on YouTube. We will be live. Watch party for the Titans and Browns game. All right, let's kick things off here with some notes on injuries. Unfortunately, they are starting to really pile up for the Browns here late in the season. And we've got things starting off with right guard Wyatt Teller. They've already come out and said that he will be out for Sunday's game with a calf injury. This one's interesting because the Browns had already been rotating Wyatt Teller and Tevin Jenkins at right guard in this most previous game against the 49ers, which was apparently a planned coach's decision. Wyatt Teller said it was basically his performance-based. He hadn't really been playing up to what the expectations were. So the team wanted to get an extended look at Tevin Jenkins. And this is something I've kind of been talking about all season, was the Browns could at some point be looking to extend Tevin Jenkins as part of the offensive line heading into 2026. And it looks like they're trying now to get that evaluation. So with only 4 games remaining after this week, so Teller's already missing this week, and then there's only 4 games left after that, with a calf injury, and we know that those can really be nagging, and depending on the severity, could hold him out for multiple weeks. Coupled with the fact that the team has already taken some action here to get Tevin Jenkins on the field to get their evaluation of him, we could very well have seen Wyatt Teller's last game on the field for the Cleveland Browns. And it's really sad and sucks because it was his 100th start for the Browns. He got, honored or, acknowledged before the game for his 100th start for the team. And then in that 100th start is whenever they're starting to rotate a backup in to see if maybe he can play better than Teller or at least be part of the future. I don't think an extension for Wyatt Teller anymore is in the cards for the Browns. So it sucks because we love Wyatt Teller. He's one of our favorite Browns maybe ever, but the writing might be on the wall here for Teller. Okay, moving next to him, right tackle Jack Conklin is back in concussion protocol once again. So that's the second time this year, and that's also like a 99% chance, pretty much 100 if you ask me. He won't be available for the game on Sunday. So the Browns aren't going to have their starting right guard or their starting right tackle, which means we had KT Leviston come in for Conklin on Sunday, so I imagine he'll be the one to get the start at right tackle against the Titans. It's just disgusting that your best depth option at tackle is the guy we signed off the Rams practice squad before the season. And I'd love to know what the heck happened to Cornelius Lucas. I was so excited that the Browns signed him to be the swing tackle before the season. He played so well for Washington over his years there. He was whether it was backup, right or left tackle, there were games that he started right and left tackle, and he played very well for them. And then this year he comes to Cleveland and suddenly he just sucks so bad that he's not even active for games, and KT freaking Leviston is your swing tackle instead? Just unreal. Just unreal. Some of the drop-off in talent when players come to Cleveland versus what they had done before and after Cleveland, that really needs to be investigated. Now we've also got Dylan Sampson. He was ruled out with a calf injury in the 49ers game. Kevin Stefanski said he's more day-to-day, so there is a chance that he'll be available and okay to play on Sunday. Dylan Sampson's a guy we need. He's a guy we need. Well, last week, Jerome Ford was already dealing with a hamstring injury in practice. He ended up being okay for the game, but I don't care if Jerome Ford's 100% healthy. He's not a guy I want on the field anyway. So we need Dylan Sampson healthy and ready to go. And here's the big one. This is the one that, all injuries suck, but this one just flat out sucks the most. Malik Collins, veteran defensive tackle, season-ending surgery for a quad injury that he sustained on Sunday. You guys remember he got carted off the field in what has been the best season of his entire career. And this is a guy who's had a good career in the NFL, 30 years old. He's played many years, and this was the best. He was on pace to have his best statistical season and everything. He already had 6.5 sacks this season, which is his new career high already with 5 games remaining, 25 tackles, 7 tackle for loss, and 13 quarterback hits. He was a monster pairing on the defensive line with Myles Garrett. These two benefited and helped each other so freaking much. Myles Garrett, there is no question in my mind, no doubt, that Myles Garrett's sack totals right now and the fact that he's on this Hall of Fame, best season in NFL history trajectory at the defensive end position. This is in large part due to the presence of Malik Collins on the interior. Now, I'm not taking anything away from like Mason Graham. The Malik Collins Mason Graham pairing in the interior has been ferocious this year. It's been so good. It has helped Myles Garrett. It helped Alex Wright get an extension. These guys all help each other. These guys have been feeding off of each other. It's the best defensive front we've ever seen in Cleveland, at least in my memory. And Malik Collins was a humongous part of that. So losing him for the rest of the season sucks. And, obviously, at this point in the season, the Browns suck. We're not going to playoffs or anything like that. That was never in the question. But one of the biggest things we've got left remaining, aside from watching Shedeur Sanders continue to develop and grow and see what he can do, is watching Myles Garrett set this single-season sack record. He's easily going to be the depoy. He'll be the Defensive Player of the Year this year. So we're witnessing another great historic season for Myles Garrett. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's why I try to say as often as I can, appreciate what you're watching when you're watching Browns games, even though they suck. watch the greatness that is Myles Garrett, because you'll remember this for the rest of your lives. You will remember. You'll tell your kids and grandkids, I remember watching Myles Garrett, because they'll see his face. They'll hear about the Hall of Famer. He'll be on broadcast. Whatever he does later in life, you'll be able to point back and say, I watched the season that he obliterated the NFL single season sack record. And that's happening right now. And it could even happen on Sunday. He's only 4 sacks away. He's got 19 right now. He needs 4 more sacks to hold the record by himself. The record is 22.5 by Michael Strahan and TJ Watt. So if he gets 4 more, he's at 23. Boom, the record is his. And if you guys saw this, I don't know. I didn't understand what was going on because I wasn't listening to the actual broadcast when I was watching the game, but because I had it on mute, I was doing baby stuff and we had Thanksgiving. But Myles Garrett had 25 written on his arm tape during the game, and the reporter asked him about it, and he said that the total sacks that he's gearing up for, that he would like to hit this season, was written on his equipment somewhere or whatever. So they found the 25 on his tape and said, okay, he's gunning for 25 sacks this season. So I kind of got derailed there talking about Myles Garrett, but the reason I'm talking so much about Myles Garrett having this career season is tied to the fact that Malik Collins was on this defensive line with him. So huge loss for the Browns, big loss for the Browns defense. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I really like Malik Collins. I'm very thrilled to have him on the team. I'm excited for what he can do coming back next season. He's under contract again, so that's great. This was one of the best offseason signings for Andrew Berry. We talked about Cornelius Lucas coming here and being what we thought was a good offseason signing and turning into a pile of nothing. And then on the other side of the coin, the other side of the ball, you got Malik Collins, who we thought was a great offseason signing and has turned into exactly that. So thoughts and prayers, Malik Collins. Hope your recovery goes well. Get back on that field even stronger and more powerful next year. Okay. So it's always tough to come in here with a lot of hype and positivity after a loss, especially an excruciating loss like Sunday was. There will be some positivity. There's definitely some good things to talk about. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But right now I want to talk about at 3-9, the Cleveland Browns now have their 4th losing season under Kevin Stefanski. That is 4 out of 6. And again, if Joe Flacco, I've said this before, if Joe Flacco had not signed here in 2023, it would most likely be 5 losing seasons out of 6, because the Browns were not going to go to the playoffs or achieve a winning record with DTR at quarterback. And that's the position we were in, if you remember. In 2023, things were looking pretty bleak for the Browns before Joe Flacco came in here and saved our behinds. 2025, this season, will now become the Browns' 23rd losing season since their return to the NFL in 1999. So it has been 27 seasons since 1999, and we have only had 4 winning seasons in that span. So welcome to all you new Browns fans. And if you don't understand yet why Browns fans can be so cynical or negative about things, about the team, about all this stuff, well, right there's your answer. We have been nothing. We have seen nothing but abject failure from this organization's 23 losing seasons, 42 different starting quarterbacks, all since 1999. And yet we are still here. We are the most loyal fan base in all of sports. I won't hear an argument against it. This organization 100% does not deserve us. But we're still not going anywhere. We will be here and we will be ridiculing this organization until they get it right, because I'm not a ship jumper. I'm not going somewhere else where I think the grass is greener. This is my team. This is my city. I will root for this team until I die. But I will also criticize this organization for not putting the best product possible on the field. And this season has been nowhere close to the best product. So that takes me into this. Bubba Ventrone, still here, not fired. Obviously, Kevin Stefanski does not ever fire underperforming coordinators during the season. He never has, and he never will. Again, there's only 5 games left this season. It's just... pack it in. There's individual things to look for, but as far as the team goes, it's over. Joe Woods, the first 3 years under Kevin, defense was terrible, But Kevin kept him for 3 years before even firing him. Mike Prefer, special teams coordinator before that, 3 years also before firing him. Alex Van Pelt, 4 years before he got fired. Still not sure why they fired Alex Van Pelt, other than the organization likely said you have to get a new offensive coordinator in here to try to work with Deshaun Watson. You got to make this work, whatever. But either way, that was a very bad decision because the team has been so much worse since Van Pelt left. And then they fired Ken Dorsey last year after just one season. So now if, and this is a big if Kevin Stefanski stays in Cleveland beyond the season, Bubba Ventrone, I mean, no doubt he'll be fired. He would be the second special team coordinator fired and the fifth coordinator fired under Kevin Stefanski in 6 years. 5 coordinator firings in 6 years. Like Jake Burns said on a previous podcast with me, he said at some point, Kevin, the common denominator is you. Special teams have been very bad every season under Kevin Stefanski. In the last 5 years, the Browns have given up 5 touchdowns on returns. That is the most in the NFL. On Sunday, special teams allowed a 66-yard return to our 15-yard line, set up the 49ers' early score. Gage Larvidan muffed not 1, not 2, but 3 punts. He recovered the first 2, I believe, and then the 49ers were the ones that recovered the fumble on the third. Malik Col catches a kickoff going out of bounds at the 5-yard line. How does any returner, we're talking about how does any returner, college or pro, not know to just let it go out of bounds? You can't kick out of bounds. It's a penalty. You get the ball at the freaking 40-yard line, almost midfield. And instead, we lose 35 yards of field position and start the drive basically on our own goal line because of a blunder by the returner. And that whole debacle nearly ended in the offense getting a safety. Just abysmal football that we watch here in Cleveland. Oh, and just for anybody who doesn't know this, Bubba Ventrone is not just the Browns special teams coordinator. He is also the assistant head coach. Think about that. You wonder why this team looks so poorly coached every week? It's because they are. It's because they are. You got the wrong people in the wrong positions. And I don't want to hear excuses about having young players and bad personnel and all this stuff. This crap has been happening every year that Kevin's been here. Harold Fannin Jr. was asked about the fumbled snap on the 4th and 1 QB sneak. I'm going to get into this now. He took the blame and said that he needs to execute the play, he needs to get the snap, or he should have just called timeout. No, Harold. You're a freaking tight end. You're a rookie. You're taking your first career NFL snap under center in a high-pressure situation in your own territory because your moronic head coach has no sense or situational awareness about him. No, Harold, calling timeout is not on you. Not on you, young man. It's on your head coach. And he did not stop the play like he should have. And I know, like Sunday night, Blake said he didn't mind the Browns going for it on 4th down on their own 33. But you know what? I do. I have a big problem with it. The score was 10-8. It was a close game. You're keeping it tight with a good team on your home field. It's halfway through the third quarter. You just got stuffed on 3rd and 1. Punt the freaking ball away and let your number 1 defense in the league go out on the field and try to make something happen. Myles Garrett to that point had been coming within inches of multiple sacks. Already in this game, you're facing a quarterback, Brock Purdy, who just threw 3 interceptions less than a week ago, and he has 7 picks thrown in 4 games. But no, you decide to have your rookie tight end take the snap and try to QB sneak it. The kid's never taken a snap in a game before. The players weren't lined up properly. Shedeur's out there trying to direct traffic. The play clock's running down. You got Wyatt Teller running on the field. They're rushing to try to get the play off, and they fumble the snap. Any decent head coach would have seen all that chaos taking place on the field on your own 33-yard line in a 2-point game, and you would have quickly called timeout, reassessed, gotten your wits about you, and punted the damn ball. You got a rookie quarterback in his second career start. You're putting people in. This is what I hate about Kevin Stefanski. This is what I hate. Every week he gets grilled and asked this crap in the media, press conferences, all that kind of stuff. And he says, we're trying to put our players in the best position to succeed. No, you're not. No, you're not. How is going forward on 4th and 1 on your own 33 with a stupid play call in any way putting anybody in a position to succeed? You are putting Shedeur Sanders behind the 8 ball. 49ers get an easy score. They go up. It's 17-8. As soon as you get down, they're taking away the run. You are putting Shedeur Sanders in a terrible position. Terrible. You're not helping him. You're not helping anybody. I am just, you guys know, I'm done with Kevin Stefanski, and just this crap has happened way too much, way too often over 6 years. I'm done. It's time to move on. Speaking of moving on, let's take a quick break and then we'll be right back. This episode is sponsored by ButcherBox. Browns fans, are you struggling with figuring out the right Christmas gifts for people this holiday season? How about a special gift package of the finest meats from ButcherBox? Not only does ButcherBox offer delicious meat and seafood products, but with a monthly subscription, you can give people the gift that literally keeps on giving throughout the year. Right now, new ButcherBox members will receive your choice between free New York strip, ribeye, or filet mignon in every box for a year. Plus, you get $20 off when you use our promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, at checkout. Just head over to butcherbox.com and choose your box and delivery frequency. With the custom classic box, you get exactly what you and your family love. Choose from over 80 products, including meat and seafood. Plus, you can manage your entire subscription online and change your box type, product selection, frequency, or delivery date anytime. Plus, you can pause or cancel your subscription at any time. Shipping is always free, and they deliver to your door on your schedule, and you can cancel, like I said, any time. Every meal is easier when your freezer is stocked with high-quality meat and seafood from ButcherBox. That's butcherbox.com. New ButcherBox members will receive, like I said, your choice between free New York strip, ribeye, or filet mignon in every single box for a whole year, plus $20 off when you use promo code DAWGS at checkout. Make sure you guys use our promo link down in the description and use promo code DAWGS when you check out. All right, thanks you guys for listening in on that. Now, who's ready for the latest edition of quarterback drama in Cleveland? I debated even talking about this, but it's getting way too much traction on social media to just ignore. So clearly people are interested and talking about it. So let's dive in here. We've got Dillon Gabriel's fiancee. Her name is Zoe Caswell. Now, again, if you guys, I don't know a whole lot about her at all other than what's been going on here, but she's going viral right now on Browns Twitter for her latest post after the game, after the 49ers game. And her caption on her TikTok video says this: "Browns lost again. What's new?" with a crying laughter emoji. There was also another video where she was arguing with somebody in the comments, and she wrote, quote, "Actually, everyone in the building wants Dillon to play, but you wouldn't know that because you've never played in the NFL or been a couch, right?" And I'm certain the person she was talking to has never been a couch, but he's probably also never been a coach, which I think is what she's trying to write there. But hey, not everybody spell checks or even reads back what they write before they post it publicly. Anyway, now people are taking her comments on TikTok and linking them to the things that Dillon Gabriel has said earlier in the season that we touched on back when it happened. There's performers and there's entertainers comment, and then the if you're always waiting for the perfect time comment, and people were attacking him, saying, well, he was taking underhand shots at Shedeur Sanders with those comments and things like that. And it's like, no, I think in the context of those comments, I think you can draw that parallel just because you can draw a parallel between a lot of things, even if they don't exist. Now it's a little more interesting with his fiance coming out here and pretty much throwing shade at Shedeur, it seems like, and the team because her man is not the starting quarterback. So all I really know about this is that Gabriel's fiance doing this, saying these things, making these videos, posting these comments, it's not helping anyone. It's not. And remember, Shadeur Sanders got hammered in the media, the national media, unfairly, I might add, for being, quote, immature and not handling the backup role very well. All that dude ever did was talk about being ready for his moment and supporting Dillon Gabriel. He even told fans to stop chanting for him when Dillon Gabriel was the starter because he said it doesn't help him. He wants Dillon to be, the most confident version of himself when he takes the field. Chanting for Shedeur doesn't help that. He told fans to just stop doing that. So right now it seems like maybe we got a Dillon Gabriel and his family circus problem going on here. I don't know. All I know, the other thing that I know, and you guys let me know in the comments if you agree or not, but this is obviously my opinion, but I am very confident in saying this. The Browns completely wasted a 3rd round pick on Dillon Gabriel. Wasted it. The second that Shedeur Sanders pick was announced at 144, that 94 pick on Dillon Gabriel was instantly wasted. Washed. I've said this before. As soon as the Browns drafted Shedeur, there was an expiration date on Dillon Gabriel's opportunity in Cleveland, no matter what he did on the field. People were always going to be looking past him, looking at Shedeur Sanders, and waiting for Shedeur to get on the field. There were so many freaking players that we could have taken instead of Dillon Gabriel. I've highlighted a few of these on social media in the past week or so. There was Jared Wilson, the offensive guard that went to the Patriots. I believe that was either the pick or 2 picks after Dillon Gabriel. There was Xavier Watts, the safety from Notre Dame that I really wanted the Browns to take. Me and Kenny Mack did episodes last year talking about prospects, and Xavier Watts was one of the players that we highlighted. Kenny was big on him. We're like, man, if the Browns could get Xavier Watts somewhere in the 2nd round, that would be awesome for our defense. He ends up going 2 or 3 picks after Dillon Gabriel late in the 3rd round. We could have had him. And he's like an all-rookie team type player for the Falcons this year. He's awesome. And we could have had him. But no, we took Dillon Gabriel instead. So many players we could have had. And that whole evaluation of the quarterback position, the decision-making from Kevin Stefanski on Dillon Gabriel being the guy to take first-team reps all summer long, like all that stuff is another reason why I just can't deal with Kevin anymore. I don't trust this team. I don't trust this coaching staff with quarterback evaluation. I don't want them picking a quarterback next year. If the team comes out and says, we are definitely taking a quarterback in 2026, then I want to fire everybody and bring in somebody else to make that decision. I don't trust you guys at all, period. Zip, none. I don't want you doing it. So we actually have a voicemail here from Claude, which I think this is actually a pretty good spot to play this.
Hey, gang. First time voicemail leaver. Canadian. Grew up right across the lake, Erie, Ontario. My mom's American. Grew up in Euclid. Thank you, guys. Love what you're doing. I've learned a lot. But what I want to say is when Stefanski talks about Shedeur, when they ask him questions and whatnot, like you can clearly see the guy does not like Shedeur through his body language. I'm pretty sure that's set. But my conspiracy on it is, like, do you think, like back in the day, Dion rubbed Stefanski the wrong way, and now they're not jiving, right? And as for Shedeur starting, I'm stoked, but I don't think Gabriel should be overlooked. Like, the guy knows ball, and he was in the draft for a reason. So I guess, like, is there a situation where Gabriel doesn't leave, but is more like on the coaching staff, and you have a quarterback and a coach or assistant coach? I don't know, but they like grow together. Because my fear is we send Gabriel away to like Miami or something, and next thing you know, he's balling it. Anyway, dog pound, woof, woof.
Okay, let me say this before I address a lot of things in your voicemail, Claude. Number one, thank you for calling in. Love hearing from people for the first time. It's great. If you want to leave a voicemail, go to thedawgspodcast.com, tap leave voicemail. You can record your message, listen to it back, re-record it if you don't like it, send it in, or you can just leave a message. You can actually just type a message right there on the website and send it to us, and we'll read it on the show. We got another one of those here coming up in a little bit. So I understand the sentiment of being concerned that a Browns player will leave the Browns, go somewhere else, and have success. Yeah, I get it. That happens a lot. That happens a ton. I don't think that'll ever happen with Dillon Gabriel. The thing is, you can take Dillon Gabriel and put him, I don't care, put him on the Dolphins, put him somewhere else, put him on another team, put him on the Vikings, send him to Kevin O'Connell. It doesn't change the fact that he has no arm strength. It doesn't change the fact that he's short as hell and he can't see over the line. Like, that stuff is all still the same. Everything that they saw, the beat reporters in training camp and preseason, all this stuff at practice, and when they were saying, hey, look, this guy does not look like an NFL quarterback. This guy is struggling. He doesn't look good. Everything that they reported is exactly what we saw on the field, exactly what we saw play out. So I'm not worried about Dillon Gabriel going anywhere else and having success. I think he is what he is. It was a bad pick. He was a bad pick. He should have gone 6th or 7th round in the draft if he was going to be drafted. He probably should have been a UDFA. But, leave it to Cleveland to do an Anthony Schwartz and take a guy way before he ever should have been taken. Based on what traits? I'm really not sure what the analytics said about a small quarterback with subpar arm strength. I don't know. Whatever. That's why I think, honestly, there was a lot about that pick that was Kevin Stefanski probably lobbying for Dillon Gabriel, because if it was the general manager, if it was Andrew Berry in the front office that had such strong conviction that Dillon Gabriel is the guy to take here in the 3rd round, we're going to use this pick on him, we're going to give him an opportunity this year, they never would have taken another quarterback in the draft, especially not Shedeur Sanders. So I think there's rift. I think there's 2 different paths of sight being seen here by the coaching staff, Kevin Stefanski, and the front office general manager, Andrew Berry. And I think it spells doom for Kevin in the end. But coming back to your question about Dillon Gabriel, I'm not really sure what you're getting at, Claude, as far as like you think that he'll just retire as a player and the Browns will sign him onto the coaching staff after one season in the NFL. He's a 24, 25-year-old kid. Like he's in the prime of his athletic, physical career. Like he wants to play football. He's not going to be a coach. I don't know if there's ever been a situation where anything like that has ever happened, where a rookie quarterback or player has just retired and then signed on to the coaching staff. He'd be a super young coach. I don't know. I appreciate the question. I don't think there's any world in which that is even a possibility. So I'll just leave it at that. If anybody wants to chime in the comments, go right ahead. I appreciate hearing from everybody, as always. What I want to talk about then is Dillon Gabriel versus, obviously, Shedeur Sanders. And here's what I wanted to compare specifically is second career starts. Okay? Second career starts for these guys, and how things played out with the context of their preparation. Because I just said it a little bit ago, Dillon Gabriel, by the time he was starting for the Browns, had multiple reps, practices, opportunities with the first team offense, with the starting line, with the starting receivers, all that kind of stuff. By the time Shedeur Sanders got to his second start for the Browns, he had 2 weeks of that kind of prep with the starters, with first-team reps and everything. So Dillon Gabriel has had months and months and months of preparation to gear him up for his first 2 starts. Shedeur Sanders had none of that. None of that, okay? Now, that's important to keep into context when you're comparing these 2 performances. So there's an argument to be made here that Dillon Gabriel's second start was actually easier than Shedeur's second start, because the 49ers defense, coached by Robert Saleh, while they are decimated by injuries, it's still a very tough defense, and he's still a very, very good defensive coordinator. The Steelers, that was Dillon Gabriel's second career start. That was the opponent. Their defense, if you watch the Steelers this year, their defense is struggling. Their defense is giving up a lot of yards, a lot of plays to other teams, and that is who Dillon Gabriel got to face. Now, I'm not sitting here saying the Steelers are a pushover or a bad defense. I'm just saying, I think comparing the 2, I think Shedeur might have had the more difficult matchup whenever he got his second start. Maybe that's fair, maybe it's not. You guys let me know. But in these 2 starts, so people are obviously split on, Shedeur Sanders' performance here in his second start. This past weekend against the 49ers, he was 16 of 25 for 149 yards. That's 6 yards on average and 1 touchdown, no picks. He took 3 sacks for 34 yards lost. Remember, I got some context with those 2. He has a passer rating of 93.6, so not a bad passer rating, But they gave him, ESPN gives him a QBR of 16.1. So another super low, abysmal QBR rating. And I did a whole thing last week about why I hate this metric from ESPN, because I'm really seeing now, and people have said this to me for years, and now I'm on board. Like this is a flawed metric, because they're giving Shedeur Sanders 16 to 25. That was 64% completion, 149 yards, a touchdown, no picks, and he has a 16.1 QBR. That is super low. Dillon Gabriel had almost 2 times higher QBR in that start against the Steelers. He had a 30.4 QBR, even though his passer rating was 66.3. Shedeur's was 93, 96 point something. Dillon Gabriel, 66.3 passer rating, but the QBR, ESPN has him double what Shedeur was at 30.4. And Dillon Gabriel's stats were 29 of 52, 221 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, just a 4.3 average, 6 sacks. Dillon Gabriel took 6 sacks in that game. Now, he only had 38 yards lost. Shedeur had 34, I believe, on his 3 sacks. But the total number of sacks, Dillon Gabriel had twice as many. So the sack thing for Shedeur, I said this on Sunday night, I'll reiterate it now. In the last 6 competitive quarters of Cleveland Browns football, that was the 4 quarters of the the Las Vegas Raiders game, and the first 2 quarters, I could even say the first 2.5 quarters of the 49ers game, Shedeur Sanders took a total of 2 sacks. 2 sacks for not very many yards lost, because I think his 1 sack against the Raiders was only 3 yards lost. So not a big deal. The 2 big crippling, big lost yardage sacks occurred after the game was already gone for the Browns. We were down multiple scores. Stefanski had already been out coached to the point where this game was over, and Shedeur Sanders was trying to make plays. I don't really fault, and maybe I should go back and watch the tape one more time, but I don't really fault Shedeur Sanders for his play in the fourth quarter of that game. Because what else do you want a rookie quarterback in his second start with minimal preparation to this point? What do you want him to do? What do you want him? This kid is a winner. He's a baller. This is what he does. He goes out there and tries to find and will his team to a win. Now, it's a little different in the NFL than it was in college. Once you get down by multiple scores, especially when you are the Cleveland Browns, it's over. It's over. There's no coming back. But he's going back to college football mindset. I'm going to go out here and I'm going to play hero ball and just try to, have a deep bomb play, a deep bomb touchdown. Okay, I don't fault him for that. It's his second start. He's 23 years old. Like, what do people genuinely want him to do in that situation? The first 2.5 quarters, when the game was only a 2-point game, it was a competitive contest, he played great, in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying like otherworldly or anything like that, but for what he is, for a rookie in his second start with very minimal practice reps to this point, and his experience is next to none in the NFL at this point, I don't know what more we want him to do. I really don't know what more we want him to do. So just looking at those two starts, the second career start for Dillon Gabriel and the second career start for Shedeur Sanders, the outcome of the game, pretty much the same. The Browns lost to the Steelers 23-9, and the Browns lost to the 49ers 26-8. So either way, the second career start for both these guys did not go well on the scoreboard. I do believe Shedeur Sanders vastly outperformed what Dillon Gabriel was able to do, because remember, Dillon Gabriel had 52 pass attempts. He got 52 opportunities to throw the ball, and he had no touchdowns. And he had about 6 passes. If you remember that Steelers game, he had 0 interceptions. Turnover-worthy plays were pretty high because he threw a lot of passes that hit Steeler defenders' hands, but were just dropped, fortunately for the Browns.
Since 1989, Mount Hope Fence has set the standard in outdoor living. From decks and railings to fences and patios, we've got you covered. Our lineup features top brands like TimberTech, AlumaGuard, Preferred Railing, and Unilock, along with our own premium Duralux vinyl products. For over 30 years, we've partnered with contractors ensuring reliable job site delivery. Discover quality and excellence in all things outdoors with Mount Hope Fence.
Last thing I want to talk about here. So, and people are going to, I see this all over social media. You know, his PFF grade so far this season is one of the worst in the league. His QBR is one of the worst in the league. You got to remember, when those numbers, when those grades and things are being factored in for the season, they're including the second half of that Baltimore Ravens game that I'm sorry. I don't count that for Shedeur because he wasn't supposed to be in there. He wasn't prepared. He had, remember, 0 first team reps, 0 reps with the first team ever before that time he stepped on the field. Wyatt Teller said the offensive line was getting together in the tunnel at halftime to try to learn his cadence. Okay? So, no, I'm not going to include the second half of the Raiders game in my evaluation. So, over at PFF, I'm looking at weeks 12 and 13. So, the 2 weeks that Shedeur Sanders started games and actually had a week of practice to prep. How did he compare in those 2 weeks to the other quarterbacks in the league? And one thing that I really like to look at here, yards per attempt. Okay, this is one of the big things that we're knocking these other quarterbacks for the Browns, especially Dillon Gabriel. And everybody's saying, well, all Shedeur Sanders is throw checkdowns and passes behind the line of scrimmage. His yards per attempt over his 2 starts, 6th highest in the league over the last 2 weeks, 8.0. 8.0 yards per attempt. The highest is 10.2, which is Jameis Winston. And then you got Dak Prescott, Drake May, Trevor Lawrence, Matthew Stafford at 8.2, and then Shedeur Sanders at 8.0. 6th highest yards per average in the league over the last 2 weeks since he has been named the starter. I like that. I really like that. So then, let's look at like ADOT, the highest, of course, again, Jameis Winston. This is average depth of target, 12.8. Shedeur Sanders is 16th at same as his yards per average. Average depth of target is 8.0. That is just what we've got. Drake May at 8.5, Baker Mayfield at 8.2, Caleb Williams at 8.2, Matthew Stafford at 8.0, and Shedeur Sanders at 8.0 average depth of target. So I'm trying to dispel some of these false narratives that all he does is throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage. His average depth of target is 8 yards. That is right on pace with some of the high-performing quarterbacks in the league. He's doing fine. He is doing fine. And if you look at like his completion percentage over those 2 weeks is 60%. So not stellar, but at the same time, it's not terrible. What I always do like to look at is adjusted completion percentage, and his adjusted completion percentage is 72.5 because it includes some includes some, what is it? I'm sorry. Adjusted completion percentage. It includes the drop passes. I think he's got 2 drop passes in here, 6.9% drop rate from his team because they suck. Anything else? So now the big thing that he's getting knocked for is his time to throw is definitely the longest in the NFL at 3.3 seconds on average time to throw over his 2 starts. But again, people are looking at time to throw and saying all he's doing is holding the ball. Yes and no. Now, there are times when holding the ball is a bad thing. There's times when holding the ball is okay. And I want to talk about that in context with the other players around him in a second. But remember, like the touchdown to Harold Fannin down the sideline. Well, if he throws the ball or gets rid of the ball in 2 seconds, then he's checking it down. He's checking it down because there's no way Harold Fannin, that route doesn't develop and he doesn't get wide open down the sideline for that touchdown. But Shedeur Sanders was able to step up, navigate the pocket, I think he took like a step to the left, steps up, holds the ball for an extra second, and it's just enough time to get Harold Fannin wide open, and it's a touchdown strike. So holding the ball, while the connotation of that is, yes, it's a bad thing, but it's what are you doing with the ball when you're holding it? So at 3.3 time to throw, 3.3 seconds, yes, it is the longest time to throw over the last 2 weeks in the NFL. 3.29, just what is that? I've been a long time since my math classes. A thousandth of a second, less than Shedeur Sanders. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know you guys will. Tyrod Taylor at 3.29. Then you got Lamar Jackson, MVP Lamar Jackson at 3.27. And then Patrick Mahomes, 3.23. Bo Nix, 3.21. Brock Purdy, 3.07. Jackson Dart, 3.15. Shedeur's at 3.3. I get it. He's got the highest time to throw, but it's not like he's the only one holding the ball that long to try to make a play. If you look at the people, the names in this list, they're guys that aren't just standing in the pocket inviting sacks because they don't know where to go with the ball. It's guys that are holding the ball, navigating the pocket, creating a little separation to try to let things develop to make a play. And I'm not trying to just make excuses for Shedeur and paint all this stuff, whatever. I'm just trying to give it context. I'm just trying to give it some context to say all the stuff you see is not black and white. Most of it is gray. When you see somebody post on social media that, Shedeur Sanders is terrible because he has a 3.3 time to throw, blah, 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 blah. Well, I guess that means Lamar Jackson's terrible because he's at 3.27. I guess Patrick Mahomes sucks because he's at 3.23. No. Think about the situations in which they are taking that much time to throw the ball. And the fact that he's only been sacked 4 times over 2 weeks with that time to throw. And like I said, only twice in competitive football situations. I'm encouraged by that. I guess that's kind of my underlying theme here. That's what I'm trying to get at. This is the positive part of the show today. I'm encouraged. I am encouraged on what I have seen from Shedeur Sanders. His NFL passer rating over the last 2 weeks combined is a 90.8. Let's see, where does that rank? A 90.8 is 17th in the NFL. Your best mark right now over the last 2 weeks is Jordan Love at 111. Let's see who's around Shedeur Sanders. You got Jalen Hurts at a 92.2, Sam Darnold at a 92.8. You've got Joe Burrow in his one start was an 83.7. Cam Ward, the number 1 pick, was an 81.1 over the last 2 weeks. So Shedeur Sanders over the last 2 weeks has a higher passer rating in those 2 games than Cam Ward does. Let's be encouraged. Let's be encouraged because what we see on the field, and I said this to somebody on social media the other day, they said the numbers are telling us that Shedeur's a bust. And I said, I don't give a shit about the numbers. I don't care. I'll talk about him, but the only reason I'll even talk about his numbers is because he's passing the main test for me, and that's the eye test. The Browns suck. They're 3-9. We're probably going to be getting a new head coach next year. We need all new receivers. We need all new offensive line. The only test that matters from here on out the rest of the season is the eye test. Does Shedeur Sanders look like an NFL quarterback? Does he look like he can play in this league? Because I'm telling you, if you're just going to look at numbers, his completion percentage isn't up with this guy or that guy. We don't have receivers. We drop passes all the time. We don't have good blocking. We don't have good coaching. We don't have good schemes. We don't have anything. That's why I'm not going to look at numbers alone to make an assessment on Shedeur Sanders. What do I see with my eyes when I watch him play? And he looks good to me. He looks good for what he is. For his situation right now, only 2 starts in the NFL with no practice hardly with the first team, with no priority being given to him to this point until he was named the starter. I feel like he has handled himself well. And the thing with Shedeur Sanders, any Cleveland quarterback, but primarily him, you're going to have to coach up yourself, bud. This coaching staff has never developed a quarterback. They've never even made the right decision at quarterback. They picked Dillon Gabriel over you. Think about that. They prioritized him. They had him slated so far ahead of you. And in 2 games, you've already shown way more than he's ever shown capable of doing. You're going to have to coach yourself, Shedeur. You're going to have to be in the film. You're going to have to be practicing. You're going to have to be, running your reps. You got to do it. And what I love about Shedeur Sanders is I think he's capable of that. I think he's capable. It's what made Baker Mayfield such a good quarterback for Cleveland, because you've got to be able to survive and find a way to somehow thrive in a very adverse situation with a coaching staff that sucks, that doesn't help your development, a team that's not good, players around you that aren't great. Like, you have to have internal fortitude and determination and drive and such strong self-confidence that you will not be shaken by all this other garbage. And that's what I think Shedeur Sanders can do and can be for the Browns. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Where am I right? Where am I wrong? What do you guys see with Shedeur? Do you think, we need to see more Dillon Gabriel? You guys know I'm completely out on that. Do you think this is it for Kevin Stefanski? Are we doing a coaching search podcast series come January, or are we going to be doing a why are we keeping this guy series in January? I appreciate you guys tuning in. I love you guys. You're the best audience in the world, best fan base in sports, like I said at the top of the show. Make sure you guys head to jointhedawgs.com if you want to be part of the Dog Pack Discord episodes. Live on Thursdays, we'll be previewing the Titans game this week during that session, and then we will be live watch party during the Titans-Browns game on Sunday on YouTube. Make sure you guys tune in during the game and just watch the game with us, hang out. It's the first time we've done a watch party since Deshaun Watson's first game when he came back from suspension against the Houston Texans. So it's going to be a ton of fun. We're excited to do it and excited to have you guys join us. So let me know in the comments all your thoughts and opinions about this. Again, if you want to get your thoughts and opinions on the show, go to join. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Let's take a quick time out here. I did have a message. I said this. I am so sorry. Chris from the website. I wanted to get to your message from the website. Again, you can go to our website, thedogspodcast.com, leave voicemail, or just write a message, send it in. Chris on the website. I am so sorry again that I held you to the end for this. I got a little carried away with my Shedeur Sanders stuff, but he says, "What's up, dogs? I saw something and gives me a little promise about next season. AB is related to the Eagles GM, and the way he has turned the Eagles into a top 5 team in football is similar to how AB is creating the Browns. I know it's hard to believe since it's been 2020, but hear me out." Now, real quick, I don't believe it's the GM because that's Howie Roseman, but it's Andrew Berry's twin brother, and I'm trying to look this up on the fly here. Yeah, it's Andrew Berry's twin brother, Adam Berry, who is a former Goldman Sachs executive. He's now part of the Philadelphia Eagles front office. He is not their GM. That's Howie Roseman. So I just wanted to make sure I clarify that. But Chris says, Eagles GM boosted their D-line to make it hard for elite quarterbacks to be successful all game. Based on this season, our D-line has been number 1 in a lot of categories. True, I talked about that earlier with the loss of Malik Collins. 2, he says, have a dominant running back room. The Eagles have Saquon Barkley. We have Quinshon Judkins and Sanders. I'm guessing you mean Raheem Sanders because the Shedeur Sanders is a quarterback. So I'm guessing you mean Raheem, and I would scratch that name out since he ain't not playing for the Browns at all and say Dylan Sampson. Number 3, he says, draft a quarterback who was successful in college and people didn't think he will be good enough for the NFL. Jalen Hurts was a second-round pick, lost his job in college to Tua. We drafted Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. Okay. All right. You want to draw that parallel between Hurts being doubted in the NFL after, showing some decent things in college. Okay. I can see that. Excuse me. Number 4, draft weapons for their young quarterback and bolster the offensive line. Based on how the Eagles have done it and been successful, we are on a very similar path. Just need to see what happens this next offseason. I imagine you mean that we are currently in the draft weapons and bolster the O-line phase of this whole plan. Sorry, this was a long message, but this season is cooked, so I'm trying to be optimistic for next year and years to come with my boy Shadussi at quarterback. Go Dogs, woof, woof. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate the message. Yeah. Okay, there are a lot of things the Browns do that is emulating of the Eagles, obviously, because Andrew Berry came from there. His twin brother works there. Like, I get it. Like, and the Eagles are a good team to emulate yourselves after because they do things very well. The way they handle the cap, the way they do player contracts and things, it's Browns and Eagles that do it the way they do it. And I think it's successful for the most part. The problem is the way the Browns, it's similar. The way they handle the cap. The problem is the Browns do it with players who probably aren't very deserving of those contracts sometimes. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they do it with the right players. They extend a Grant Delpit. He comes out and has a Pro Bowl season and things like that. Sometimes they do it with Deshaun Watson and then he never plays for your team. And when he does, he sucks. So, yeah, I feel like the Eagles don't make those mistakes. So that's where we need to get better. But again, appreciate the message. Claude, appreciate the voicemail earlier. Everybody else, we will see you on Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern in the Discord live. If you're a Dog Pack member, if you are not a Dog Pack member or not yet a Dog Pack member, I know you guys are thinking about it. I know you guys want to check it out. It's only $5 a month. You can jump in, see what it's like. If you don't like it after a month or so, hey, you can cancel. It's okay. No harm, no foul. We still love all you guys. But anyway, that episode will be released Thursday evening to preview the Titans game, for which we will be live for the entirety of that contest on Sunday. So tune in. We got big things coming this week. 5 games left for the Browns. Hang with us. We've got this evaluation of Shedeur Sanders and the sack record to monitor for Myles Garrett. There are good things still to watch for the Browns this season, even though the team is in disarray. And we might be on Coach Stefanski's final month with the Browns. We'll see how it goes. Appreciate you guys. See you Thursday. Go Browns.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedawgspodcast.com.
This episode is sponsored by ButcherBox for Pets. Browns fans, we love our fellow dogs, our Dog Pack members, and the Dog Pound faithful, but let's not kid ourselves. The most important dogs in our lives are, well, our dogs. Your furry friends aren't just pets, they're part of the family. But the question is, what are you actually feeding them? Head to butcherbox4pets.com/products to see all the options for your dogs, including fresh and dry foods, treats, meal toppers, and even toys for your dog. If you're not sure what your dog will like best, try the Premium Nutrition Adult Starter Pack, and they even have a vacation bundle to take care of your four-legged friends while you're on vacation this summer. And right now you can get 20% off your order with promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out. At ButcherBox, they believe in real ingredients. Their pet foods have been developed and certified by vet nutritionists to contain 0 artificial flavors or preservatives. You get protein-packed formula with over 50% of the recipe comprised of third-party certified humane ButcherBox meat, plus functional ingredients like pre- and postbiotics to support your dog's vitality and digestion. I know that sounds like a lot, but the bottom line is your dogs are getting the nutrition and the value they need, and honestly, that they deserve. I know our home wouldn't be the same without Odie, our 100-pound golden retriever who thinks he's a 10-pound lap dog. He is not, but it gives us peace of mind knowing that we're giving him quality food instead of just that factory processed garbage from the store. And speaking of the store, no need to go. ButcherBox for Pets delivers their high-quality food right to your door. So head to butcherboxforpets.com/products and use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 20% off your order. It's time for us dogs to give our dogs the nutrition they deserve.